Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, a show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and co-host SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Lance Green.
All right, guys, how are we doing? Let's talk some Flyers hockey, Steel. How about it?
I'll tell you what, man. Lance, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got to say, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
everything's rolling. So, put out an article today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, good deal. Doing good. I'm here to tell you, folks, we got a real good one here for you. We're going to lay down a good one. This is a Philadelphia Flyers centric podcast with your host, Lance Green, and your co-host, Ron SteelFlyers. And we're here talking all things Philadelphia Flyers. And here we go with episode number 159. 159. I'm going to take it right from the article, my man. The Flyers and the rough road ahead. Lance just posted an article out just earlier today, and it's perfectly coinciding with the fact we're going to record the show here. So, works out pretty good. But, folks, let's face it, some reality kicked in the door the other day and blew up in the Flyers' face. Basically with the game against Toronto. And I believe that was the inspiration for this article, Lance, because when reality smacks you in the kisser, that definitely makes you stand up and pay attention. So talk to me, Lance, about the dubious inspiration for this here article here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anything, anybody who reads my stuff and everything like that knows or listens to the show.
Anybody who reads your quality stuff from a man who has not only played hockey for how many years now?
Well over 30, yeah.
Well over 30, right? Not only that, coaches kids. I think this guy is pretty qualified to be a writer. As far as I'm concerned, that's why he's the editor-in-chief of SteelFlyers.com. Please continue, sir. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a harsh reality, like you were saying. Toronto is a good team, and obviously, they got some star players on that team.
Yep.
And the Flyers are, sitting and have been seated in a pretty nice spot. And they've been living, above the poverty line here for a long time, right? I mean,
that's a good way to put that. I like that.
They've been feasting and living high on the hog, sitting in that spot, and
over 100 days.
Yeah, and it's pretty spectacular that they've been able to do that this long, and considering they're a rebuilding team, and considering that, I mean, let's face it, injuries are occurring. Nick Seeler's out. Jamie Drysdale's out, Risto's out. They just traded Sean Walker. It was a needed thing to do. The guy would have walked for nothing at the end of the season.
Yeah.
The Flyers chose who they wanted to go with. Nick Seeler, guy who's been here a little bit longer, guy who plays a little bit more physical, a little more versatile even, I would say, being able to play the left, the right, up and down the lineup. Walker is a solid defenseman, and that's why we were able to get a 2025 first-round pick from Colorado for him.
Ding, ding, ding.
But, that is another defenseman that we were down, right? And, so with all these injuries, things are starting to add up, and that resiliency that the Flyers have been living off of, and that, tenacity that Tortorella has put into this young team, it is slowly fading away a little bit here, and
Yeah.
it's one game, right? It's one game with Toronto.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
but when you look at the road ahead, it doesn't seem to be getting much better here, okay?
Yeah.
Not only did the Flyers also lose a goaltender, obviously in Carter Hart, weeks ago, months ago, whatever it is now, you know, they didn't go out and get a established veteran goaltender for, even cheap one at the deadline. And I think that was something that is going to haunt them this season. If they wanted to possibly get into the playoffs, I think that is something that they needed to do. Both guys have obviously impressed, these past couple of games, but there's been some games they did look like rookies, like, against Toronto. The defense is not where it once was at the beginning of the season, even when all of these other players I listed previously were healthy or still on the team. And, you know, it's starting to show that this is may not be able to be a stability anymore and a mainstay in this playoff position. Eric Johnson has come in, so we lost Sean Walker. We were able to gain a 35-year-old Eric Johnson, a Stanley Cup winning defenseman. Great, but what has he done in the 3 games he's played with the Flyers? He has 0 points. Never a really big point getter, but he's a -5 in those 3 games. So not really doing a whole heck of a lot here. So,
Well, he's a body.
Right. So when you add all of that, kind of stuff that I just went over in to the fact that now this team is going to have to play in the next 2 weeks alone. They're going to have to, they played Toronto, a playoff team. They're now going to have to go and play the Atlantic Division's second place team, the Boston Bruins, who's had our number for a number of years. That's on Saturday.
Yeah.
They only have 93 points on the season.
Yeah. No.
Then we got to play the Maple Leafs again that Tuesday. Then we have to play the Metro Division's second place team, the Carolina Hurricanes. That
nice.
This upcoming Thursday on the 21st.
And Carolina is 10 points ahead of the Flyers in second place, right? Okay, they have 86. Flyers have 76 points.
Yep.
Okay, and so, oh gosh.
Let me keep going here. After them.
Thanks, yeah, please keep going.
We have the Bruins again.
Oh.
Coming to town, I think up there, I'm not sure. Saturday the 23rd. All right. The Florida Panthers, now we just played them really well, not so long ago. So they might be up for that game. But again, they are the best team in the league still with 94 points. Yeah, and we got to play them on Sunday, the 24th. So it's not going to be an easy step in again. And then on the 26th, we got to play the Rangers, the Metro Division's first place team. So
you're full of all kinds of good news. Yeah,
I mean, and I got that today, right? From a couple of guys. They're like, man, you're just so negative. And I'm like, okay, I'm living in reality here. You can kind of see the writing on the wall with a team with so many injuries, with the team deciding to trade a significant defenseman for future assets, which I agree they should have did. Given that they're rebuilding and all that. They didn't go out and get a goaltender, a veteran goaltender, to get them through the rest of this season, like other teams did. So, I can kind of live in reality here and see what the writing on the wall is, possibly. Hopefully they come back with a vengeance and play these games tough. But even if they go every other game, I don't know. This is a big task for these next 2 weeks, and that is really going to tell us if we're going to be able to remain in the playoffs or if we're going to be on the outside looking in, like a team like, say, the Islanders, who now have a new head coach, in Patrick Waugh, of course, and his systems are getting in place there.
Yeah, and they've been
And
coming on, and they
yep,
now have the same amount of points.
well, they have 2 less games played than us too. So coming down the
Yay!
stretch, that's 4 possible points that they're going to have even after, even if we played all 82 games, they're still going to have, a possible 4 points on us. And that'll be made up in the next couple of weeks probably. But anyway, they
Yeah,
still got games in hand, as well as New Jersey, who's maybe a little bit farther back. I think they're like 8 points back or 10 points
yeah,
back or
something
something like
like
that right
that, I
now.
think.
But, they went out, they traded away a big goal scoring player like that, but they have a lot of youth up front, and they
Oh,
managed to go out and get 2 goaltenders.
gonna say they've
Uh,
gone in a really good goaltender.
they got Jake Allen, and they got Capo from the Sharks, and he's a good young goaltender when he was with Minnesota and all. I mean, I don't think anybody's that great besides Nabokov that ever played in San Jose, because it's San Jose.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since Joe Thornton left, but
Yeah, right.
I don't know. So this is a harsh reality that we got to live in here as Flyer fans. This is going to be a tough 2 weeks, and a tough test for the Flyers youth, and it can be the difference between being in the playoffs still if we win these games and continue on. Even with all the injuries accruing, but we could be on the outside looking in the wild card spot, trying to fight our way in still after these 2 weeks here. I don't know, Steel.
Yeah, it's that's the whole thing about this, and that's why this was like a very poignant article at such a poignant time, um, because of the reality of what's happening here with this Flyers team, because of the injuries stacking up to the blue line, and then that being one of the major areas of weakness of the Flyers over these past 10 games of being 4-5-1. Do you know what I mean? And so we talked about this, a couple shows ago, a couple games ago, where we thought, hey, look, if the Flyers at least can go, 500 down the stretch, that would at least net them 90-ish something points. Okay, and to be honest with you, I think that's what they're going to need to get anywhere, sniffing anywhere close to the playoffs, because like what you said, especially the Islanders are coming on and playing better. They've been playing a lot better now since the Patrick Waugh as well. And then I like that you mentioned New Jersey, because yeah, they made a coaching change, but they've been coming on and they've been playing well, and they made some really smart, good moves at the trade deadline to help bolster them so that they could potentially try to make another run. Look, New Jersey was one of the most improved teams last year,
Mm-hmm.
having the most improved points, going from 60 some points the year prior to some 90 some points the following year. Uh, it's been really tough to see them drop off, but they they might be a little too far back, I think, this year, especially if the Islanders continue to do what they're doing, and of course Tampa Bay in that final spot as well too. And then also Detroit is also trying to kind of get there now. They've kind of dropped off a little bit on the Detroit side, just because they've lost a couple of close games and stuff, but they were in the hunt there for a while. And look, there's still 15, 14, 13, 15 games left.
Yeah, for us,
So
15. Yeah.
that's a lot of points still left on the board that could be had, not just by the Flyers, but by all the teams around them. Do you know what I mean? And look, let's face it, I don't think that the Flyers are going to catch teams like the Carolinas. I don't think they're going to catch
No.
teams like the Torontos. Okay, even though they're second and third place in their respective divisions, they're still miles ahead of where the Flyers are. And you can see that clearly when they play. Okay, yeah, the Flyers played against Toronto earlier in the season, and I believe they won that game. But Matthews gets a hat trick. You can't play run and gun with that team because you don't have the defense or the goaltending or the offense to match that on every other night, like like Toronto does, like the Bostons, like the New Yorks, like the you know these teams that we're going to have to play here in the next
Right.
couple of weeks. It does seem like a big giant slap of reality here because of how the other teams are playing behind the Flyers, which over the last couple of games they've been getting a little help.
Yep.
You know, because they haven't been winning. You know, the Detroit's dropped away a little bit. The Islanders are now just starting to come on, but for the most part, some of the teams behind them have been losing, except for Tampa Bay, of course. But given some help, you know. But here's my thing, though, Lance, and this is kind of what I want to ask you because you're the resident goaltender in the room and everything else like that. Look, man, it just seems like Ersson and et al.
Sandstom, yeah.
Et al.
Whoever, yeah.
It doesn't matter. Whatever body you want to put in there is kind of getting hung out there. And it's based off the fact that, you know, they didn't do anything at the trade deadline to bolster the goalie room. You know what I mean? And they're just kind of going with what they got. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like they're just pushing them out there and just kind of closing their eyes going, all right, have at it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I didn't think they needed to go out and get a Jake Allen who gets paid big time money and be a legitimate, you know, 1B option. But I think there was plenty of other guys out there on the market that could have been had for a pick that, you know, they gave for Eric Johnson or, you know, everybody else. You know, there was other players that they could have had with NHL experience to be able to limp towards the end of the season and then address it in the off season. But you know, the other difference here, Steel, at this time of year is crunch time, and this is the time that you see the elite players start to turn it up. And you know, this is another reason why it's scary that we're going to be playing Austin Matthews again, who's on pace to score 70 goals this year. We're playing David Pastrnak, and he's got almost 100 points already this year. All right, already with 15 games left.
I was going to say, what is he at, like 41 goals or something like that?
Something like that. And then Florida with Sam Reinhart. I mean, he's almost at 50 goals plateau there, like I said in the article. So, you know, this is the difference because the Flyers don't have that person yet on the team. Travis Konechny is a heck of a player, but he's not elite. And I believe it's been a long time since the Flyers had an elite player like that. And that goes back to maybe Jeff Carter, maybe John LeClair, Eric Lindros even, as an elite forward that can get you those type stats every season and turn it up another level this time of year. And you know, that is what we're going through right now. And you know, I don't know. Still,
they're lacking.
Yep, they're lacking a little bit, and the as much drive and determination they had being under Tortorella, I think the injuries are starting to stack up, and you know, all the things are coming down on them as we approach the last 15 games here, and you know, to be honest, Steele, I want to see them, you know, make the playoffs, but in all actuality, what is it going to prove? It might get some experience for some of these younger guys, but are they really going to do anything against New York Rangers who've had our number for a long time, or you know, whatever number one seed is if we squeak in as a 7th or 8th seed? Are they really going to do anything against Boston? Are they going to do anything against Tampa Bay in a 7-game series? Carolina, I think they would match up better, but still, because the Carolina doesn't have the elites like Stamkos and Stamkos and Kucherov and Hedman and everybody like that. But it is just that, you know, separating the men from the boys right now. And those guys may be in the system, a couple of them. And hopefully they are going to be after we select 2 in the first round this summer and 2 in the first round next summer. But, the Flyers are still 2 or 3 years away. So if they didn't make it into the playoffs, it might not be such a bad thing. And, I don't even like saying that because I want to see my team do good. But at the same time, if it means the difference between being in the lottery and getting to select a guy like, Parak or something on the defensive side of things, in the 10 to 12 area, rather than overall, instead of being 15 to 18 and getting a guy that's going to take a couple of years and maybe develop into something, that's a big question mark there. So, I don't know. I don't know at this point what I want the Flyers to be able to do. I want them to succeed, but it's not their year this year anyway. So,
okay, so they're going to try to win the games. They're going to try to be as successful as they possibly can be. There's no question about that. That's the type of Tortorella team we have. That's the type of captain we have in Couturier and the rest of this team. I just believe that they're going to continue to battle. This team has definitely shown me something this year.
Sure.
And you're right, Lance. I don't really care if they make the playoffs this year. Would it be great to see the team make it? Yeah. Do we want to see this team be successful? Yes. Look, all we have ever wanted was this team to be successful. All we want to do is have these great shows and talk about nothing but how awesome it is to see Tippett getting off the schneid, how awesome it is to see Tyson Forster bucketing shorthanded goals, how great it is to see Travis Konechny taking that next step, right, and getting almost, or what is he at, 31 goals now or something for the year, right? So the fact that this, okay,
he's
right,
missed quite a few games,
okay, but the fact that this team is starting to, they're better on the power, or they're better on the penalty kill than they are on the power play.
Yeah,
see,
that's saying a little.
Okay, so there's really good things that are happening here for the Flyers that I think they're continuing to take those next steps, right? Like from last year to this year, I've seen a huge increase in, well, let's face it, they're going to get more points than they got last year. Last year they got 75. Okay, all of last year 75 points total. I think they're going to do better than that this year, even if by a little bit. They're already better than that now at 76 points. So that to me is taking a step. I think the core players that are here, the Forsters, right? I really want to say the Brinks, because I just really think that he just needs to continue to build and continue to grow. But I've really seen a lot from Tyson Forster. I've been really impressed with how he has come on and played in this season with the Flyers. It's been quite impressive. I've also, and you and I have both talked about this in a number of shows, how impressed we are with a rookie goaltender in Sam Ersson coming in here and basically just laying it out there every single night. Okay, this guy is getting some nights very little help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let's face it, I don't care if you're, Hasek. You can only stop so many. And so I think he's taken a step. Ersson, in spite of everything, I still think he's taken a step. Do you know what I mean? Forward. I think there's other players that have taken steps forward. Do you know what I mean? I'm really liking what Sanheim has done this year. I'd like to see him more on the score sheet a little bit more, but I really like the fact that he's gotten a lot more defensively responsible now and playing more defense than he is playing offense. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really liking how this team has basically taken it on themselves to try to block as many shots as possible. But you can see the mentality of this team changing from year to year. I don't think it would be a bad thing if they missed the playoffs this year. and get that little bit of a higher draft. Look, I'm not trying to say they're going to tank. That's not even in the vocabulary here.
Right.
That's not even no. But the reality of the situation is that the Flyers limping into these next couple of weeks against some of the most elite teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be tough, people. I'm here to tell you. Okay?
Yeah, it's not like we're fighting in the top, the bottom three where we're, on Celebrini watch and stuff like that.
Which
like Bernard and stuff like that.
Watch I would love.
So, yeah. So, like you said, guys, this season it's nice to see certain players take big steps forward. Others kind of took a few steps back. I think Farabee has come on a little bit, but I was wanting to see him do more this year. Cam Atkinson, I really expected more from this year.
Yeah.
Couturier still. I mean, he's played a lot of games, but he's got a big number. He's getting paid in his bank account every year, and he's never been a phenomenal offensive player, but 11 goals for that kind of salary cap, I don't know. Morgan Frost is treading water. I don't know there. So, but it was nice to see guys come in like Hathaway and Paling, and really start to change that culture, like you said, a little bit more in the direction where you want to see a team go, and blocking shots and doing all the little things right on the defensive side of things as well. And that's why that penalty kill is above and beyond where it was even last season or the season before that. So it's the little wins. We got to remember that we're rebuilding, and definitely with the Carter Hart situation, and certain players. I don't even want to mention his name because I'm pissed off, but him not wanting to play in Philadelphia and requesting a trade. I think that hurt our development as far as the forwards go, because let's face it, he is a great forward in the NCAA this season, and would probably be a good option. But if he doesn't want to play here, good riddance. We got a pretty decent player in Jamie Drysdale, but it's gonna be that old question: can he stay healthy? He's out right now. He was out last season. And that's probably part of the reason why he was made available to us in that trade scenario. So, yes, this season we saw a lot of wins. We saw a lot of battles, a lot of meters heading in the right direction. And we saw some kind of head, or stay the penalty kill in the wrong direction, or the power play, I'm sorry, in the wrong direction. So this is a rebuilding year. Let's keep that in the forefront. Just because we're in a playoff position as we speak, the harsh reality of it is we're still a couple of years away from actual contention. And that is what I like to hear from Keith Jones and Danny Briere, that they know, and their focus is on actual Stanley Cup contention, not just making it into the playoffs. Like for so many years, the Flyers were kind of, content with doing, but, they want to raise the cup. They want to bring the cup back to Philly. And, that is reassuring in my mind that they're not going to settle until they do that. And I think they made great strides in that effort, cleaning up the mess that was left by Chuck Fletcher to a certain extent, and still, ongoing in those efforts. So, like you said, if they make the playoffs, great. Some of these young players will get
great experience,
some experience in the postseason and stuff like that. And then if they don't, maybe we'll be able to snag a guy that will be here in a year tops and be able to join the team to get into the mix of this young nucleus that the Flyers are developing. So
I'm with you on that, and look, let's face it. Danny Briere's first draft, other than the Gauthier selection, or that wasn't his, right? That was
he was there, but Chuck,
that,
that was Chuck Fletcher. He
yeah,
was
okay,
there. He helped
all right,
interview him and stuff like that. But
okay.
yeah.
Well, Bonk is gonna be the real deal. I'm really looking forward to him coming up. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be a nice little addition to this edition coming up as well. So I'm also interested to see how the Mitchkov thing wanders through. If that is something that does come to fruition, I think that's going to be that we're getting into that, bringing in those types of players that, make Philadelphia be in that, second and third places fighting for meaningful games this time of the year. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
even after that, with everybody was happy that the Flyers took a goaltender with a second round pick in Carson, but I'm not overly sold on him yet. I don't like
yeah,
his style of play, as I said when he was drafted. But I tell you what, they got a good one in Igor. That they drafted in the third round, young Russian goaltender, but man, is he promising right now if they
yeah.
can only sneak him over in the middle of the night and keep him here. Yep.
I mean,
And
while
then,
you're at it, can you
yep,
bring Mitchkov over too?
right. Sneak him in your luggage. Yeah.
Yeah, sneak him in your luggage.
Denver Barkey just
I was just gonna
signed,
say him too. Yeah.
Denver Barkey is having a phenomenal year for the London Knights. And, he's signed with the Flyers now, and he could possibly be an option as early as next year. And I really like what I saw from him this preseason as
Yeah,
well.
me
So
too. Yeah.
I think he's a gamer
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. He's a gamer.
Yeah.
So not just the Mishkov,
Oh yeah, no.
bringing him in. There's other pieces to Briere's first draft, and
But
that are
that's
going
what
to
I wanted
play
to
out.
get to. Yeah. That's what I wanted to get to, though, Lance, was the fact that his first draft, the players that he's drafted, the Bonks, the the Denvers and those other players, and Igor are making strides as well. You know what I mean? So they can potentially be contributors to the Flyers sooner rather than later,
Mhm.
not just Mitchkovs, and you know what I mean. So, well, Lance, I'll tell you what, my man, this is going to be a true test of a returning Tortorella from his 2-game suspension. And I didn't know how we should. I think it was. I don't know, man. What do you think about the fact that he got 2 games? I mean,
I think that was a little unnecessary. Getting kicked out of that
agreed.
game, okay, but to add another 2 games onto that, he was frustrated, yes, but what he wanted to do and why he stayed on the bench as long as he did after he was told to leave was that he just simply wanted to speak to Macaulay, I think, who gave him the but he didn't want to come over. He stayed over at the scorer's table and would not come over and talk to Tortorella. And once he realized that wasn't going to be an option, he did leave.
Yeah.
I'm he had a few choice words as
Yeah.
Tortorella
No lip
does
reading
when he
on
gets
that one.
heated. But I don't think that he did anything. I've seen baseball managers get thrown out for a lot worse stuff than that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I
I was
don't think so.
curious.
But it was interesting to see that, the big guy, Dan Hafferty, come out and say that if it was, going to be a fine, he'd pay it. Because he stands by his coach and he sees that love and drive for this team and determination. and
Oh,
he's
he's writing
okay
a
with it.
check.
Yep, he's okay. Yeah, he's writing a check. So I hope he, was good on that. And if
Yeah,
I was
right. 'Cause
Tortorella, I've been, hey,
50
you got that
G's.
check? Yeah, you got that 50 G's for me? I don't really want to pull that out of my wallet, but
Yeah, right.
no, I thought that was good
Okay.
of Dan to really come out and say
Yeah,
that
like
and stand behind his coach and let him know, like, hey, we like what you're doing, and
we got your back.
yeah, we got your back. So
Yeah. Okay. I understand why he got upset. Okay, because if you look at the play, if you look at the game and you watch the game, and then you rewatch it again, and go through some of the things slow motion, and you can see why he got upset, because there was so many things that should have been called, that were called against Philadelphia, that weren't called against New York. And New York was doing the same exact thing. And then they called a ticky-tack call right before that cost them a goal, and then did it again with 3 players all skating down the ice, and the guy in the middle falls down, and the only player goes to the box is the Flyer player. And then, of course, the number 1 power play in the league goes to work, and tic-tac-toe, and the horn goes off. Okay, so I understand why he got upset. It was interesting to see him protest the fact that the referee wouldn't even come over and talk to him and give him an explanation as to why he was making these calls, or why anything.
or they were very one-sided calls, yes, and not,
do you think maybe? All right,
yeah.
so
yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. From Tortorella, being Tortorella years ago before he, got to Philadelphia, I think
4th
he's
suspension by him, right? And I think like 3rd or so fine that he's had to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he's not the coach that he once was. He's a lot more level-headed, and he may get riled up in the locker room, but so does Peter Laviolette. So did a lot of coaches with a heck of a lot more, W's, than even Tortorella. So, that's what you do. Sometimes you do that and you get kicked out of the game just to get your players ramped up and get back in the game. So
that didn't work.
It didn't. It didn't in that game for sure. But it is what it is. Hopefully, Tortorella can move on now and come back into the fold and lead his team through some treacherous next couple of games. So
I'm with you on that, my man, for sure. I believe it is going to be very dangerous waters here for the Flyers. It's a virtual gauntlet that they're going to have to basically play through here in the next couple of weeks to try to make it out through the other side at the end of March. And that's going to be interesting to see where they are at the end of March. If they're able to come through this relatively unscathed, or if they'll be able to win a couple of games here and there, you know what I mean, and gather a couple of points and see how things go. Who knows where we will see the Flyers at that point? You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, it is interesting because they it is not December, right? It's not a tough stretch in the middle of the season where they have time to rebound. It is rolling right up into playoff time. They got 15 games left, and about 7 or 8 of them are against true playoff team, top teams in the whole league. So, like you said, they're going to need to steal a couple of these games to remain where they are.
Yeah.
Because if they lose the games that they should lose, let's face it, with the teams ahead of them in the standings, then we're looking on the outside looking in, I think. So
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. So listen, I know you just put an article out today, and oh my gosh, if you guys didn't get a chance, you really have to hop on over to the SteelFlyers.com website and check out the latest video that we did with Logan Sawyer from the Brooks Bandits for Prospect Watch. What an amazing young talent that young man is, and boy, I would kill to have him on the Flyers. So huge thanks to Logan for being on the show. But you guys got to go over and check that out at SteelFlyers.com. Check out that one. Or you can go to the YouTube channel and check that out there where Prospect Watch welcomes Logan Sawyer. Or you can catch a little short on TikTok. All you have to do is go to TikTok, type in SteelFlyers, and you'll be able to find it right over there. Or you can go to a whole bunch of all the Facebook groups and stuff like that and find them over there. But that was a really awesome interview, so big thanks to that. And thank you, Lance, for putting that all together and making that happen, man. It's good stuff, man, and good, talented young players that would love to see come to the Flyers if that would be the case. So, like I said, I know you put one out today. Anything in the works for articles?
I do. I got some ideas that I'm kicking around. Finding time in which to do it is going to be the tougher thing, as always.
Yeah.
A little busy with the kids running around playing spring sports now. So
spring ball.
Yeah, spring ball. So but I'll get something pumped out here. I think I have a good one in the works as far as some of our more highly rated draft picks that we all keep acquiring now, and what type players that they could turn into potentially in the future.
Well,
what that could mean for the Flyers moving forward in the next couple of years.
I'm with you, man. I like that because we've also, Lance has looked at these guys, especially during the pre-draft and everything like that, and we've tried to follow a lot of these prospects to try to get an idea of who they're going to potentially go to or if they're going to come to the Flyers, whatever the case is. So Lance and I are deep and heavily into the prospects, so when we see a good young talent, we definitely like to keep a track and make sure and see where they end up, especially if they're going to come to the Flyers. So, Lance, why don't you tell the folks where we can find you, where we can get you, sir?
Sure. I think you alluded to it. You can catch all my articles on SteelFlyers.com. As always, you can catch us on YouTube with the SteelFlyers channel there. And you can catch some of my articles if you're in any of the Flyers Facebook groups and all that. They're always on there, posted. And you can catch me on Twitter or X at Lance.Green39.
All right. And we would like to say a huge thank you to the main man, Pots and Pans, Lenny Red Coals, the official photographer of the Philadelphia Flyers, for exclusive permission to allow for him to show his pictures on our show and on our website. So big thank you to Lenny Red Coals, the official photographer for the Philadelphia Flyers. You can go to his Facebook page and check out all the great photos that he's done, of which we'll be displaying here during the show as well too. So big thank you to Len. Hopefully we can have him on the show here at the end of the month. I'm trying. Fingers crossed we can hopefully get him back on, man, because
busy man. He's a busy man.
Yeah, he's a busy man, but I tell you, he's an amazing guy, and we've had him on the show a couple times before. He's got nothing but great stories, so we're hoping to try to get him on the show here. But big thanks to Lenny for allowing us to use his photos for our articles on our website and for the show. So big thanks to Len. Thank you all for checking us out and listening to us. Big thanks to Spreaker for getting us out there for all the podcasting platforms, from iHeart to Apple to Spotify. Check us out. Type in Hockey Writers Ink, and you'll find us and give us a good rating. And that helps to get us, out there in front of you guys. So very much thank you to that. You can find me on X at SteelFlyers52. Thank you very much, folks, for catching us on the Hockey Writers Ink. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Later.